And welcome to this podium, Dr. Whitescarver.
Thank you, Dr. Gomez, and to our dignitaries, partners, speakers, participants. On the behalf of the Office of AIDS Research, which you've already heard is a component of the National Institutes of Health and part of the Department of Health and Human Services of the United States, it's my very great pleasure to join my co-chairs, Professor Jelly and Dr. Gomez, in welcoming you to this historic event. This conference is the result of the close collaboration that's existed between the National Institutes of Health and the Caribbean for more than 2 decades, including a series of smaller meetings over the past few years that led to this gathering today. This conference has been designed to bring together stakeholders from across the region, researchers, policymakers, public health officials, caregivers, philanthropists, and the AIDS-infected community to share our research findings, our knowledge, our experience, and good practices to continue the fight against HIV and AIDS. The United States shares much with the Caribbean region and not just geographic proximity. With the community of the Caribbean people who make the United States their home and travel between the 2 locations, we share the burden of the HIV epidemic and the responsibility to address it. NIH currently supports AIDS research in more than 100 countries that are most affected by the global pandemic, including the Caribbean region. In fact, in 1983, in the earliest days of the epidemic, the NIH first funded a research project in Haiti, and our support to that region has not wavered. As you will hear in the next few days, the past year has been a significant one for AIDS research. The NIH investment in basic science and prevention research is bearing fruit. We've made important progress. New advances in research to develop vaccines, microbicides, prevent mother-to-child transmission, treatment as prevention strategies, and new treatment for AIDS-related lymphoma. These advances have opened doors for new and exciting research opportunities in the search for the strategies to prevent, treat, and ultimately cure HIV infection. In fact, in recognition of the potential these advances hold, Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton came to the NIH to give an important speech just last week. She stated that this research, quote, has helped set the stage for an historic opportunity, one that the world has today to change the course of the pandemic and usher in an AIDS-free generation. She focused on 3 major interventions that have now been scientifically proven that could make this goal possible: ending mother-to-child transmission, expanding voluntary medical male circumcision, and scaling up treatment for people living with HIV/AIDS. She stressed that these interventions must work in combination with each other and with established methods, including condoms, counseling, and testing, and other strategies. They all require strong health systems and trained personnel, and require changes like ending stigma, discrimination, and gender-based violence. So this conference comes at the perfect time to continue our work toward that goal. I recently heard an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. While we've made great strides, we still have very far to go, both in terms of research we still need and to implement and scale up programs to make the best use of that research for the most people. The lesson of the past 30 years of combating AIDS is that we must establish alliances with international partners, governments, frontline providers, the media, and most of all, HIV-infected communities and their advocates around the world. This conference reflects the imperative of those collaborations. It provides the venue, tools, knowledge, and opportunity to work together to determine how to sustain a response to the pandemic in these times of serious economic constraint. It brings together experienced experts who've worked in this field since the earliest days of the epidemic, and with young people who have never known a world without AIDS, but those whose leadership is essential to eliminate HIV for future generations. I'm very grateful to our colleagues from the University of Puerto Rico, and particularly Dean Rios, and also the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and the Atlantis Hotel for hosting the conference, and to the planning committee members who reflect the diversity of the Caribbean for all their hard work. And thanks to all of you for taking the time to attend this conference and for your commitment to our shared goal of turning the tide against the pandemic so that we can all once again live in a world without AIDS. I now have the distinct pleasure of introducing Professor Daisy Jelly, one of the co-chairs of this conference and a full professor of health education at the University of Puerto Rico Graduate School of Public Health. Dr. Jelly.